The last place you expect something terrible to happen is a school or a university campus. They're supposed to feel safe, familiar, full of noise, people, lights, routines. But that is exactly why what I am about to tell you still messes with my head. Because once you hear this, you'll realize something important. Places meant for learning also remember things, and sometimes they don't let go. If you're listening to this late at night, maybe studying or scrolling before bed, I want you to imagine this for a second. Empty hallways, flickering lights. A campus that's usually loud, now completely silent. That's where this begins. And before we go any further, if you enjoy real, unsettling horror stories like this, make sure to like the video and subscribe to Nightmare Chronicles. It really helps the channel grow, and trust me, you don't want to miss what's coming next. I was in my second year at university, and this happened. It was a large campus, the kind with old buildings mixed with newer ones. During the day, it felt alive. Students everywhere. Laughter, arguments, footsteps, music leaking from earbuds. But at night, it became something else entirely. I was part of a study group that met late. Midterms were coming up, and the library stayed open until 2 a.m. That night, I stayed longer than usual. By the time I packed my bag, checked my phone, and stepped outside, it was almost 1:30 a.m. The campus was nearly empty. The air felt colder than it should have. Not winter cold, but sharp, like the kind that crawls under your skin. As I walked across the quad, I noticed something strange. None of the usual background noise was there. No distant traffic, no voices, even the wind felt muted. Halfway across, I heard footsteps behind me. At first, I didn't panic. Campuses are big. Someone else could be heading back to their dorm. I slowed down slightly, expecting them to pass me. But they didn't. The footsteps slowed too. I sped up. So did they. That's when I turned around. There was no one there. The quad was wide open. Lamps lit the path in long yellow pools of light. There were no benches close enough, no trees someone could hide behind. The footsteps stopped the moment I turned. I told myself I was tired, stressed, letting my imagination run wild. I turned back around and kept walking. Then I heard it again, this time closer. Right behind me, not running, not walking fast, just steady, patient. I broke into a jog. The footsteps followed. I didn't stop until I reached my dorm building. I slammed through the door and stood there, heart pounding, staring at my reflection in the glass. No one came in behind me. The lobby was empty. That should have been the end of it, but it wasn't. The next night, I talked to my roommate about it. He laughed and said the campus was haunted as hell. I thought he was joking, until he told me about the old lecture hall. Apparently, decades ago, a student had died there. Late night studying, fell from an upper floor stairwell. Or maybe pushed. The details were never clear. What was clear was this: security guards refused to patrol that building alone at night. I didn't believe him, not really. 3 days later, I had a night class in that exact building. The lecture hall was massive, but only about 15 students showed up. The professor ended early, around 9:40 p.m. Everyone packed up quickly. I was one of the last to leave. As I stepped into the hallway, I felt it again. That same pressure, like the air was heavier. The lights above flickered. I heard a sound that didn't belong. Not footsteps this time, dragging, slow, uneven. It was coming from the stairwell. I stood frozen, listening. The sound stopped. "Hello," I called out, instantly regretting it. No answer. I started walking toward the exit. That's when the stairwell door creaked open behind me. I didn't turn around. I walked faster. My breath felt too loud. My heartbeat felt like it was echoing down the hallway. Then I heard it, a voice, soft, hoarse, right behind my ear. "Don't leave me here." I ran. I didn't stop until I was outside, gasping for air, hands shaking so badly I nearly dropped my phone. I refused to look back at the building. I knew deep down that if I did, I'd see something I couldn't forget. After that night, I avoided late classes, avoid empty hallways, avoid walking alone. But the campus didn't let me go that easily. A week later, I was studying in the computer lab with a friend. Around midnight, the lights flickered, and every computer screen went black at once. Except one. The screen at the far end of the room lit up. Text began to appear. letter by letter. "Why did you leave me?" My friend laughed nervously, saying it was a prank, some IT glitch, but I noticed something that made my stomach drop. The keyboard wasn't being touched. Then the screen changed. "I see you now." We ran. We didn't stop running until we were back in our dorm, slamming the door shut behind us. The next day, the university sent out an email. "A system malfunction," they said. "Nothing to worry about, but here's the thing." I started asking questions, quietly, and I learned something they don't put in emails or brochures. Every few years, a student reports something: footsteps, voices, screens turning on by themselves, someone standing behind them in reflections. And every time, it happens to students who stay late, who walk alone, who don't leave when they should. I transferred schools at the end of that semester. I wish I could say nothing followed me, but sometimes, late at night, when I'm studying alone, I still hear it. Footsteps. Slow, steady, patient. So if you're on a campus right now, and it's quiet, and you think you're alone, maybe double check. And if you hear someone behind you but see no one there, don't turn around. If this story gave you chills, let me know in the comments. Have you ever experienced something strange at your school or university? I read every comment, and your story might even be featured in a future Nightmare Chronicles video. And if you think someone else needs to hear this, share the video with them. Just make sure they're not listening to it alone, late at night, on an empty campus.